Hello and welcome to this week's Career Clinic. Now, if you haven't watched Career Clinic before, what's Career Clinic? So Career Clinic is your opportunity to ask me questions about the things that you're interested in, the things that relate to your career. So I get lots of emails, lots of questions from people who really want to understand what it is they need to do to put their best foot forward every single day so that they can get the most out of their career. Now, if you'd like to have your questions answered, all you need to do is email me at michelle@michellegibbings.com and I will add your question to the list of questions, and keep watching because soon your question will be the one that I answer. So if you are a regular reader of my weekly blog, if you see some of the articles that I post through social media, you'll know that I read, and I read a lot. So I often say to people, I am a self-confessed nerd. I love learning. So one of the questions that I got from people out in audience land is, what are my sources of knowledge? Where do I get all my information from? So look, there are lots of sources of information, and I think sometimes that's the hardest thing. It's almost like there's too much information. So how do you actually get rid of the noise? How do you make sure you're focusing on the stuff that's really valuable to you, but also in a way that's not distracting? So one of the things that I do is I run 2 email accounts. I have a work email account, which is for all the day-to-day transactions and work and interaction with clients. Then I have a research account, and that's where all of the information goes, that are news alerts, the articles that I subscribe to, because I can then pick and choose when I go into that email account and when I read things, as opposed to getting distracted by information when perhaps I don't need to be distracted at that point. But a couple of key sources to consider. One, make sure you're doing some form of reading every day. And there's lots of tools that can help you. One of the ones that I really like is Blinkist. So Blinkist is an app which you need to subscribe to. But what it does is it condenses books down into essentially what they say is a blink. So the idea is that you can read the synopsis of a book really quickly. Another tool that I know some people really like is a tool called Get Abstract. And similar, what it does is it takes a book and it gives you effectively an abstract of that book. I'm also a big fan of Google Alerts. So what I do is I have a number of Google Alerts that are set up, and what those Google Alerts do is send me information on topics that I find interesting. So I have a Google Alert on the future of work. I have one on employee motivation. I have one on culture. I have one on ethics. And those Google Alerts, you can set how frequently you would like that alert to be sent to you. And what the Google Alert does is it scans the web and it then sends you a range of interesting articles and perspectives on that topic. Similarly, you can use curator sites like Pocket and Flipboard. You set up the search parameters, and every week you'll get an email that sends you a whole raft of articles on those particular topics from a range of sources that you may not subscribe to directly. I'm also a subscriber of a range of online newspapers because, it's still important to read the news and to read widely. It's important not just to read the news that makes you comfortable, but to read the news that makes you uncomfortable. Because it's only when we're uncomfortable that we're learning something new, because we're having our mind challenged in a different way. And if we always read the news that we agree with, we're not hearing alternate perspectives. And hearing alternate perspectives is really important. So that's it. Setting up a habit of reading, of learning, is easy, but it is a habit. So what are the daily things that you want to do? Is it that you just set aside 10 minutes every day to do some form of reading? Is it that you set aside part of a Sunday to go through those separate emails and then use sites, whether it's OneNote or an Evernote, where you can tag and keep articles as handy reference items so they're easy to find? When you fall in love with learning, you realize how much fun there is with learning something new. Take care. Have a great week.